the other device. Okay, here we go. Right, okay everyone. Been a long time since I've come on and made a video of any kind whatsoever. I haven't really planned this one or done any research. It's not scripted or nothing. But, you know, it's, you know, but it's something I've got to get off my chest here. So I've got to adjust this other camera here. Better? Okay. So, okay. So what am I going to come on and rant about tonight? Now, I've made a few videos on my YouTube channel and that in the past, where I've taken on sort of claims of alternative medicine and really just looking at them, debunking them. Just guys watching on Facebook, and looking at the claims. And for a while I'd kind of wanted to do one on homeopathy. I'd never really got around to it, and I wasn't going to do it today until I sort of saw something, and that is Prince Charles has become a patron of the Faculty of Homeopathy based in London. Now, I think he's been into this kind of rubbish for a while now, but I think for him, the next head of state of this country, to go out and publicly champion something I believe to be pseudoscientific bullshit right now is irresponsible. Now, I know people who know me, whatever, no, I'm not a big royalist anyway, but this is not going to be a big anti-royal family kind of rant or anything. That I'm not doing that today. It's not going to be anything along those lines, but I am going to take him to task over this. And the reason I feel this is irresponsible, especially in this day and age, is when we have got a lot of people that seem to no longer trust medical science. We've got crap like anti-vaccines, which I've done videos about that before. Stuff like that on the rise, and you know, and really now, you know, why he would be coming out when anyone could tell him, any reputable science, and I know that you know, he's got access to him, could tell him that homeopathy is bullshit. So yeah, so a bit annoyed about that, because it has given practitioners of homeopathic medicine a certain degree of credibility they don't deserve with any kind of royal patronage. So anyway, so let's get into some of the kind of claims and what homeopathy is. Now I'm going to go partially through the National Health website here, just to get the basic. Now, it's actually quite an old idea, actually. It was first conceived in the 1790s by a German doctor called Samuel Hahnemann. And the central principle of the treatment is like cures like. That a substance that causes certain symptoms can also help to alleviate those symptoms. Now, on the surface of it, that might sound quite plausible, because as we know how vaccines work, yes, what happens with vaccines is you get a very small amount of, you know, the actual virus or whatever you're being vaccinated against put into you, you know, and the idea is it prevents you from getting them. But what the difference is, of course, with vaccines is what they do is they trigger the immune system, where the kind of like cures like thing is very much around symptoms, is very much an unfounded claim. And you know, the second big principle of homeopathy is based around a process of dilution and shaking called secession. It's really, now for example here, let's say you get you know, let's take a condition around. So like you get itchy skin or something. Now, under the like cures like principle, say something like poison ivy could be taken down, diluted, shaken, diluted, down again, shake and dilute. And it's diluted down to quite frankly, to almost the kind of point where it's be like chucking a 2 aspirins into Lake Titicaca and coming back 6 months later thinking that you've got a headache cure. That's about the level of dilution. So even if this principle works at all, it's diluted so much that it's, you know, doesn't it really. But and one of the things that they will say, homeopathic practitioners, is the more diluted it is, the more powerful it is. But effectively, you're just taking medicine that is basically, well, water pills, for lack of a better term. And they make all sorts of claims of that it can cure all kinds of physical and psychological conditions. I'll get into some of them, you know, in a bit. Actually, no, I'll have a look down the page. Let's have a look. Right, this is just off the National Health. We've heard claims around asthma, ear infections, hay fever, mental health conditions such as stress, depression, anxiety, allergies such as food allergies, dermatitis, arthritis, high blood pressure, and there's probably a whole range of others that aren't listed here. So now this is the question: does it work? Now, there's been extensive investigation into the effectiveness of homeopathy. There's no good quality evidence that it is effective for any, as a treatment for any medical condition whatsoever. There's no evidence of it. In fact, I'll take you to another thing here. This is from the Smithsonian Institute. Now, they actually compiled over 1,800 studies. This was several years ago, back in 2015. And the overwhelming conclusion of this is homeopathy just does not work. It is just bunk. It is bunk. It is not. So 1,800 peer-reviewed papers and so on. Now, that's going through the scientific process of peer review and so on, which really any medicine that Heinrich has to get on the market or whatever from the pharmaceutical companies has to be tested, you know, and go through all kinds of processes before it's put on the market. Now, I know a lot of people who are into alternative medicine will say, well, you know, big pharmaceutical companies, you know, they're corrupt and whatever. They're big capitalist scumbags. I agree they are. They absolutely are. But something you've got to also take into account as well is that alternative medicine is also a multi-billion-dollar industry. And this shit has not been tested, or if it has, it's failed the tests. And all kinds, and they can put this stuff out there making all kinds of unsubstantiated claims. So yeah, they're both bad, but one of them has gone through rigorous scientific testing. The other hasn't. Okay, so I want to get that thing out of the way right now. I mean, homeopathy alone, you know, sometimes you can have tablets that, say in the UK, cost some, you know, start at around. You know, they start from around £4 at the cheapest to 10. Some of them go up to like in the hundreds of pounds. Some of these treatments. So they're and this is the thing. Really, another argument I'm going to say is somewhat used is that there's not many known side effects of homeopathy. That's pretty true. Pretty true. It is pretty safe in a respect. You're not likely to get a side effect from taking that medicine. The problem is you're not going to get an effect from it one way or the other, because it does nothing. It absolutely does nothing above being maybe a placebo. It works about that kind of rate. And this is the problem. Like, again, there's no legal regulation for homeopathic practitioners, certainly in the UK. I don't know what it's like in other countries. This means that anyone can practice this shit, even if they got no qualifications. I could go and call myself a homeopathic doctor and peddle this snake oil, and you know, I've just, unfortunately, I've got this little thing called ethics that kind of prevents me from doing that. I'll clean up otherwise from some of the claims that are made. And so, you know, the people, a lot of it's just quackery. Now, I always remember, there's an older magician named James Randi. People in America will know who he is. But he also spent a lot of time debunking kind of claims. And one of the little stunts he used to do to debunk homeopathy was take an entire, you know, container of homeopathic sleeping pills. And of course, lo and behold, they had no effect on him. Now, that had been regular sleeping pills. He would have been rushed into hospital pretty damn quick, I could assure you of that. So that's one good little, you know, stunt that he used to do. It's really, it is unethical to me, really. I know there's people that believe in this stuff, but I just need to get this off, because it really is something that grinds my gears. Is this kind of people turning to alternative medicines that do not work. I've seen it all kinds of stuff. You know, not just homeopathy. You've got anti-vaxxers now. I've heard a lot of claims made about essential oils that are unfounded, faith healing, Reiki, whatever it may be, and the evidence for any of them is weak at best. In most cases, demonstrably not true. So I just want to conclude on this, and there's a good statement here. This was about Prince Charles, and Michael Marshall, project director of Good Thinking Society, said this: with so many pressing health issues in the world today, from antibiotic resistance to the rise of anti-vaccination sentiments, to the need to increase mental health awareness, this seems not only a missed opportunity, but actively counterproductive. That is what he's saying about what Prince Charles has done here. He should not have been allowed to do this. I'm sorry. He should not have been allowed. Even if he believes in this stuff, I don't think he's a guy who, let's face it, is going to be the next head of state of the UK, most likely, should be allowed to do this. And I'm surely someone, I hope somebody, because, you know, it's not like the royal family don't have access to the blooming scientific community. I'd hope someone could have told him that this stuff is pure bunk and total nonsense. Yeah, so that was my thoughts on this. I just wanted, I've been wanting to sort of do something about homeopathy for a while now, but this isn't the most thought out, and I didn't really script this, but I just really kind of needed to get this off my chest, because one thing that grinds my gears is bunk alternative medicine, and which is a lot of the time actively does more harm than good. Okay, so see you guys all later. All right, salute.